occasionally you're going to have to estimate what a square root is, and if it's not a perfect square root, like the square root of 9, which is 3, it's going to cause you a little bit of anxiety if you don't know what to do. So let's take a look at an imperfect square root, the square root of 10, and let's round it to the nearest tenth. This is what I encourage you to do. First off, start off by making a number line and just number it 0 to whatever you think you need. So here we go. And once you get used to this, you won't need to do the full-blown number line. You'll be able to keep it much smaller. But then when you're trying to find out where this odd square root fits into the picture, you literally start asking yourself, well, what are my perfect square roots? And you can do this straight from your number line. The square root of 0 is 0. And the shortcut is to just ask yourself, what's 0 times 0? And it's 0. So you take the answer and you put a square root over it. So 1 times 1 is 1. Put a square root over it and see if it makes sense. What's the square root of 1? 1. What's 2 times 2? It's 4. Put a square root over it. What's the square root of 4? 2. And you can make your way down the line just like this. And I'm not going to fill this out because, quite frankly, now what you do is you come in and you start taking a look at, you know, this right here. And we're going to place the square root of 10 where it goes on this number line. It doesn't go between the square root of 0 and 1 or 1 and 4. It's somewhere between 9 and 10. Now, the cool thing is you could actually start counting with the square roots just like this. Square root of 0, square root of 1. Here's the square root of 2, square root of 3, square root of 4, square root of 5, and so on. And if I could squeeze in 6, 7, and 8, it would go in order right here. I want to take that off so it doesn't get too crowded. But what that lets me know is that even though 10, I can barely squeeze it in here with the size of the square root of 10, I've also got to fit in between 9 and 16 the square root of 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, all between these two square roots. If you're trying to figure out which square root it's closer to, do this. This is the square root of 9. What do I have to add to 9 to make 10? I'd have to add 1. So it's only one spot away from the square root of 9. What about, what would I have to add to 10 to get to 16? I'd have to add 6. So as a result, it's a lot closer to the square root of 9. And what's the square root of 9? It's 3. And this gives us our guess. It's definitely going to be less than 3.5 because here's the halfway point between 3 and 4. So the square root of 10 is going to be less than 3.5, but it's going to be more than 3. And now you just have the ability to start guessing. I'm going to guess probably 3.2. And so how can we check it? You literally just say 3.2 times 3.2 and find out what it is. And then after you do that, you do a quick little check and you go, you know what? This is too high. So 3.2 is too high of an estimate because I got over 10. I got 10.24. So now I just come back and I say, okay, let's try the one that's right below it, 3.1. And so you adjust your guess. And what you're trying to do is find the one that is just barely over and the one that's below it. So let's go through and find out what 3.1 times 3.1 is. This is 9.61, so it's too low. Now, here comes the last question. I want to estimate what the square root of 10 is. Which one is closer to the square root of 10? Which one gets me a closer number to 10 when I multiplied it by itself? Well, 3.2 got me 24 hundredths over 10, so 0.24 over. This one is actually 0.39 below 10, so this one's farther away. As a result, I'm going to say it's approximately about 3.2. And I'm going to use this symbol right here. It's not a messed up equal sign. It just means it's about 3.2. So that's what you do. You just do a little bit of guess and check. This number line helps you be able to get a starting point. So that way you're not guessing, you know, like 3.8 times 3.8. That would be way too big. And so once you find out if you're too high, you just readjust and go down lower. If you start out and your first guess is too low, then start going higher. But don't stop until you found the decimal that puts you above your square root that you're looking at, in this case 10. That's a little high. And then don't stop until you've also got the one that's a little bit too low, and then just compare these two numbers. Which one of these two is closest to your square root, and then choose, the proper number for the answer.